Hi, 8th graders. Today is Tuesday, September 29th. I want to share that tomorrow on Wednesday we will have our first quiz for Chapter 1. Please make note that we expect students to take this without using their notes or calculators. I really want to encourage you to use Quizlet to study those properties that we learned in Chapter 1-3 in Section 1-3. We will continue working with those in today's lesson, and I will talk about them a little bit here in this video. It's okay if you did not have the chance to join the whole class Google Meet. Continue watching this video to see what we talked about. So remember, today you still have video lessons and homework to complete. And then if you want to review for the quiz, just look over your notes and your homework. But here I want to remind you we learned about substitution, additive identity, additive inverse, multiplicative identity, multiplicative property of zero, and multiplicative inverse. I want you to think of identities as the same. So each person has an identity. It is who they are, and it stays the same. And here, when you add a number plus 0, the number stays the same, and that's the additive identity. You add 0 and it always stays the same. Here with the multiplicative identity, remember if we multiply by 0, that's something else, that's property of 0, but we multiply by 1 to keep that number the same. Identity is the same, the number stays the same. I highlighted multiplicative property of 0. That's just saying when you multiply by 0, you will always get 0. I want you to think of inverses as the opposite. Your parents might have an inversion table. It's a contraption. You kind of step in, you lock your feet down, and you can flip your side upside down. You can flip yourself upside down. It's the opposite. So here when we add, it's a positive and a negative number that will equal 0. But when we multiply, the multiplicative inverse is when we multiply by the reciprocal, and it equals 1. Okay? The last one is substitution, and that is just like if Miss Conley had a substitute, the teacher's taking her place. They are equal, but you can replace or substitute it. So here if n equals 11, when I see n, I can replace or substitute it with 11. They are equal. We also have the commutative property. Your parents might commute to work, so they might take the interstate to Des Moines, but they could also take the back roads to Des Moines. Here, there is more than one way to solve adding or multiplying multiple numbers. Here, it doesn't matter if we add A or B first, we'll always get the same answer, same with multiplying. But there is usually a fastest route. Usually the interstate is fastest to get to places. And here, sometimes you might want to use logic to know which numbers are better to put next to each other to add or multiply. And that kind of touches on associative property. You might associate yourself with the group. I want you to think of associative as grouping. Here, you add parentheses to group numbers together. When you add or multiply, it doesn't matter which order you group in, you will still get the same answer. So here, and I'll link this PowerPoint into the document, but you can try these problems out to see which property it would be. First slide, and you can pause this video if you want to go try that out, because I'm going to share answers for the first one. So pause it now to go to Google Classroom and find this PowerPoint. Try out slides 5 through 13, and then come back and play the rest of this to find the answers. All right. And if you're watching this and you're joining my Google Meet later, stop watching so you don't have the answers. For the first one, we have the one step we would multiply if we follow order of operations is we would do 4 times 2 first in the parentheses. And when we do that, that is just substitution. I'm not I'm not getting 1 or 0 for my answer. I got 8, so that is substitution. I know 4 times 2 is equal to 8. For this one, notice I changed to the order in which I'm multiplying. So that is the commutative property. I don't have parentheses in here. I'm not associating. I'm changing the order. I switched the 5 and the 8, so that is commutative. For slide 7, we have 6 plus 0. That stays the same. Remember, identity is the same, and we're adding, so that is additive identity. Here the property is, so remember we're following order of operations, we're only changing one thing. The only thing that changed was 15 divided by 3 was changed to 5. Here again is substitution. 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5, so I can replace or substitute it there. Here, notice I didn't change my order, but I did add grouping symbols, and that is associative property. For 10, slides 10, notice the only thing that changed was 7 times 1/7. My number did change, so this is not an identity. My number changed to 1. So this is the multiplicative inverse. And here I multiply by the reciprocal. 7 times 1/7 is 1. So multiplicative inverse. Here for slide 11, we are multiplying by 0. So this is a multiplicative property of 0, saying that I will always get 0 for my answer. And for slide 12, we have 8 minus 8 is what we would do first for our order of operations, and that is the additive inverse. So we got 0 here. My 8 didn't stay the same. If I still got 8 here, it would be an identity. And lastly, for slide 13, the one thing that changed was 7 times 1 became 7. The numbers did stay the same, so we know it is an identity, and we multiplied, so multiplicative identity. That is all I have for you today. Please make sure to review your notes for the quiz tomorrow over these 3 sections. The quiz will be online, and I've been impressed with how hard you are working and staying on top of it.